everybody, here we are back in the garage, back working on the 300ZX turbo project here. Today I'm going to be tackling the headliner. I'm going to try and get the headliner out and fix it. Mine's actually in really pretty decent shape, but I do have an area at the back that's sagging, very floppy. So we're going to take it out and see if we can get it glued back up and looking decent again. All right, so it's a pretty small headliner. Obviously, it just goes across here between the T-bars and then a little section here. The 2+2 would be bigger, but this is just a two-seater. So we're going to get the sun visors out of the way. So they're screwed up here, and then the clip there. Both of those will get the mirror out. We've got this here, which I believe is to do with the climate control, a light, and then there's a piece of trim back here we've got to release. And I'm doing it now while this trim is all out because effectively you got to take a bunch of screws out of here to release this anyway to get the headliner out. So it made sense to do it before I put the trim back in. That piece is just sitting there, it's not bolted in. So I think most of this is going to be just a Phillips screwdriver. So let's have a go, see what we can get out of here. So I'll start with the mirror. So one screw here to actually get the mirror off. Okay, and then we've got 3 screws holding the mirror base on. Okay. So one screw back here for the clip retainer. Okay. 2 screws up here, actually retaining the sun visor in. Go. Do the same thing on the other side. I have all that off across the front there now. Turning my attention to the light up here. I just popped the lens off, and there's a little prise slot. Where is it? There at the back. So back behind where the switch is a little prise slot, and it just pops out. And then we have, looks to be 2 screws here. That should come down. Then this screw, I believe, is a retainer for the actual headliner once this is out of the way. So we'll undo those, get that down. Should be easy to unplug, I think. Okay, so there's the light. Just drops down after those 2 screws come out. You just slide this plug off of these 3 prongs here. It's out of the way. That screw remaining there is one of the ones actually holding the headliner up. So we'll leave that until we've got this all disconnected and the back trim off first. Okay, so I'll put it around the right way. This cover just pops up. There's just a couple of little spring-loaded clips that hold it in place, and that's, I believe, the fan that moves the air around for to get an inside temp for the climate control. I don't think all cars have that. I'm pretty sure it's only if you have the digital climate control HVAC system. But it appears to be screwed directly to the body and not to the headliner. So I don't think I have to take that out. I'm going to leave it in. Let's try and see if we can get this. These appear to be just map reading lights. We'll see if we can get those unclipped next. So the map reading light, like that little fan, it's just got some little spring clips, so it very easily drops down, and we just got to disconnect the little plug here, and that should be out of the way. All right, so there is a piece of plastic trim at the back of the headliner. It goes across here. Now, chances are you haven't stripped the whole back of your car out if all you're doing is taking the headliner out. So you have to do a little extra bit of jiggling because this tucks up under this quarter window plastic trim here. I've left it off just to make my life a little easier, but I mean, removing it should be effectively the same. So we're going to see if we can get that pried loose. Taking the rubber seal off here so I can see better. Okay, so it looks like you kind of have to pull it back, like towards the back of the car to release it. There we go. Okay, so if you pull it back and not down, it'll come off. There we go. Okay, so now you can see these tabs here. It slides into those, so you pull it basically straight back. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this piece of trim around the T-bar roof here. Now again, if you still got all your trim in, there's a coat hook screws up into here. You'll have to take that off, take that out to release this. But other than that, it should just pull off. We'll have to release it out of this side a little bit, but it should just pull off. Okay, it's going to pull off until you get here, and then there looks to be a bracket here, and I'm guessing under this A-pillar trim, there's a screw. So before I bend that anymore, we'll try and pop that A-pillar trim off. Okay, so that came off easy enough. I just put my little trim piece in up at the top here, and it's just popped. Now be careful, because this is a drainage tube here for the T-bar roofs. So you don't want to damage that in any way, or you're going to have leaking right in your lap. But with that off, we can see that there is a screw here. Okay, so I think I've got 5 Phillips screws left. One here on each side, and then the one up by the dome light there. And I think it will then drop down, and I'm hoping that's going to reveal how it comes out of the piece of trim at the front here. Okay, well, there we go. So I took the 4 screws around the T-top opening first, and then the one that's right there, I left that for last, and then it just drops, and all you do is, if you grab it around here and pull back, it slides out of the trim up under the windshield. It just pops right out, and we should be able to just lift it out of the hatch here now. There we go. So this is all in pretty good shape. I got to glue, I got edges here, not so bad here, edge all around there, and then this back section. All right, so what I've done with my headliner here, taking the staples out that somebody had used to stop it obviously flapping down completely, and I'm gonna try and get it to adhere back to the hardboard with a spray adhesive. I'm gonna do it in 2 sections. From sort of the dome light up to here, it's just the edges that need a little bit of help. So we'll get the edges done. And then this area here, I can lift back, clean it up and respray it. So I'll do this section first, and then we'll deal with cleaning this up and getting this ready here to glue back together. And I'm just going to use, I'm trying a LePage spray adhesive. You put it on one side, glue it down. Okay, so update on the progress. Spared you a lot of very boring video of me faffing around trying to get this to work, but in the end, what I've done is I peeled the section away across the header there by the windshield, pulled it back so I could glue it down properly, because just working on the edges and the little corners wasn't working. So it appears to have adhered reasonably well now on all the edges. They're down as far as the dome light. So I'm going to work on the back section here now. And what I'm going to do after I've vacuumed the obvious dirt off, I'm going to wipe it down, and then I'm going to go over it with a light sandpaper. So scuff up the hardboard there, and then I'm going to wipe the back of the headliner material down to make sure it's completely free of dust and dirt. And I used isopropyl alcohol, just a light amount on there. Cuts through anything that's on there, a little bit of grease if there's any, and it evaporates. So, and then what I've found, and again, this is me, and that's using the LePage adhesive, spray-on adhesive. Spraying it onto the actual headliner material and not the hardboard seems to work better. All right, that about as prepped as I can do it. We'll move on to wiping the back of the headliner material down now. Now, I'm not using a lot of this, but the other thing I did just before I put the glue on is I used a hairdryer and just warmed this up. There were lots of little creases and things. It had even bunched up around where the screws go here, and it becomes quite brittle at cooler temperatures. And it's January in the Pacific Northwest, so whilst it's not ridiculously cold, it certainly wouldn't be what you call balmy. Okay, the other trick is to try and avoid getting glue on your fingers. Because then all you do is transfer it to your headliner. All right, I think that's got it. We'll give it some time to dry, but I think we've been fairly successful here in salvaging this cover and getting it back on. Okay, I think we're ready to try and put it back in the car. I'm going to slip it in through the back hatch there, and then I'm going to slide it up under that trim piece up by the windshield first, and I'm going to put the one screw in up by the dome light to hold it in place, and then we'll work on it from there. Okay, see if we can get it in. Feed the wire through, both wires through. Screw here. Okay, pushed up under there nicely. So we'll get try and get that piece of back trim up now. Okay, I tried to center it in the middle here. Oops. Okay, so it's basically in. I'm going to do now is put the 4 screws that hold it up by the T-bar roof opening. And I'm going to start then putting the sun visor back in, the holder for the mirror, and clip those little electrical components up. All right, so we're carrying on putting everything back together for the headliner here. Going to put the finishing trim around the T-bar now. It's all been refinished and cleaned up and looks 100% better than it did. It was looking pretty worn and tired. So I got 1 screw back under here to put in, and the rest of it should just clip on. Okay, so that just snapped into place. It looks just so much better than it did. We'll snap the A-pillar back into place. These clips just go in the slots up in the A-pillar here, so we'll bang that into place. All right, so sun visor in, mirrors back in. The map reading lights and then the sensor for the climate control, they just one plug and then they just snap back in there. It's really easy. Do the dome light now, and again, nothing special here. It's just 2 screws that go in, plug it in. The only thing I did, when this came out, if you'd have seen the video, you'd have seen that it was this very aged yellow color. So I've gone and I've painted the edges you see the interior trim color, so it matches these parts and everything else. So it'll have the white, I call it a dome. I guess it's not a dome anymore, but it'll have the white light on it, the white lens. But at least the surrounding will be color coded to the vehicle. Okay, so we have everything back in the headliner. Pleased with that. Actually really like how that dome light or interior light turned out, getting rid of that ugly old yellow look to it. All right, there's another job done. I'm well pleased with it. I think it's come up really nice for, using all the old parts. There's nothing new up there, and it's about as near to new as I can make 38-year-old car. And I hope it helps if somebody else out there is tackling the headliner on their Z31. As always, a like or a subscribe if you enjoyed the video or the channel. Very much appreciated. And I hope I see you back here. We're going to carry on working on the cockpit there. We're going to start getting that apart and try and bring it back to life, bring it back as near to new as I can. In the meantime, you drive safe, everyone. Have a great day, and I hope I see you back here in the garage.